Hey, what's up? My name's Samuel Leeds, and on this video, I'm going to explain what happens with lease option agreement properties at the end of the term. Now, I hear a lot of people talking about lease option agreements. Maybe they've done my courses and they've taken on lease option agreements, but not many people that I've spoken with have actually got to the end of the term with a lease option agreement and be able to experience that, gone through the challenges, gone through the whole processes. I have, because I've been doing lease option agreements now for over a decade. Is it over a decade or is it exactly? I think it's about 10 years. But let me talk you through how it works. So firstly, if you don't know what a lease option agreement is, I would suggest that you maybe watch this video or stop watching it and go and watch another video and come back to it on what a lease option agreement is. But it's effectively where you buy a house now and you agree to pay for it later. And you have the option to buy it later. And the idea is that you benefit from the monthly cash flow every single month. And then at the end of the term, and literally lease option agreements can be like 5, 10-year terms. At the end of the term, then you're gonna buy the property and you're gonna have it at a really, really bargain price because of capital appreciation. If it hasn't gone up in value and you don't wanna buy it or you can't afford to buy it, then you just simply don't exercise your option. You walk away and you just keep the cash flow that you made from the property over the years. So that's what a lease option is. However, what are some of the things you need to look for when you're doing a lease option agreement to avoid any problems at the end? So the first one is this. You need to make sure, this is so important, you need to make sure that you have a solicitor represent the seller right at the beginning. Now, the reason that's important is because it's nothing to do with the contract. You could just take my contracts and you could use it and you could do lease option agreements and just tweak it. You use the template. The problem with doing that is that the seller at the end of the term, at the end of say 7-year term, might say, you know what, I don't want to sell the property to you after all. Now, why would they do that? Why would they change their mind? They'll change their mind when the property doubles in value. And they're like, why do I want to sell to you for 100 grand when the property is now worth 150 or 200 grand? At the time, in their situation, they didn't care about the capital appreciation. They didn't care about that. They just wanted rid. But now, in hindsight, they're thinking, they want their cake and eat it. They want zero risk. They don't want the house. But then when they see it goes up, they're going to change their mind, potentially. And I've had this happen to me. If you've had a solicitor represent the seller at the end of the term, if the seller says, I've changed my mind, they can't say that because they knew what they were signing. They had a solicitor representing them, explaining them through it. They can't tell the courts, oh, well, Samuel or whoever pressured me, or I did it under duress, or I had no idea what I was signing. I didn't know that I had to sell the property at the end of the term. They can't say that because they've been represented by a solicitor. Now, you can have a solicitor yourself as well, or you can represent yourself, but it's imperative that you have a solicitor represent the seller. So that's point one. That's going to mean that at the end of the contract, at the end of the term, they can't just walk away. And believe me, I've had them try, okay? I've seen it all, but they can't if you've had a solicitor represent them. And of course, the solicitor is also going to make sure the contract is properly drawn up and it's airtight. Number two, really important. At the end of the term, if you're buying the property at the end of the term, how are you going to afford to pay for the deposit? You might have heard me talk about lease option agreements as if they're no money down. They kind of are no money down. To begin with, you're going to pay for the solicitors, you're going to pay a £1 minimum option fee. So it's kind of no money down. But what about at the end of the term? Are you going to have to actually, when you come to wanting to get the title deeds, are you going to have to buy it then? And the answer is you can finance it in such a way whereby it's no money down, or you put money in and immediately get your money back. However, you're going to need some form of payment to begin with to buy it. So how are you going to afford this? Well, you have, luckily, 5 years or 7 years or however long the option term is to work this out. If you've got bad credit and that's why you can't buy houses, you've got 7 years to get good credit. And even if you've got really bad credit, after, I think it's 5 years, it should be clean again. So you've got a long time to get your credit sorted. You've got a long time to save up your deposit. And you can literally use the cash flow from the property on the lease option agreement. You can use that monthly cash flow, store it, and then later you can use that as down payment on the property. Now, if the property isn't cash flowing anything, if it's a bad property in a bad area, it's not cash flowing positive, then don't take it on in the first place. You've got to only take on properties, even if it's a free house or a lease option agreement, that's cash flowing at least £200 a month, minimum. And if it's a seven-year period, believe me, £200 a month actually adds up to a reasonable size amount. So you're going to save up that money. Now here's another challenge at the end of lease option agreement term. That's this, and this is something that not many people are aware of because they haven't completed on lease option agreements at the end. I have, and lenders will not like the fact, they won't want to lend to you on a property that you've had previous interest in, because they'll think it's a bit of a conflict of interest and you're going to really struggle to get a standard buy-to-let mortgage. So here's what you're going to do. You are going to buy the lease option agreement, and of course, by the way, folks, of course, it has to be a good property. This is the strategy that I've used on several properties. It's worked really well. So at the end of the 7 years or however long it is, you're going to make sure that you don't change the carpets. You don't change the kitchen. So at the end of the 7 years, there's going to be a bit of wear and tear. And you're going to do that deliberately as part of your plan. You're going to buy the property after 7 years. You're going to buy it with bridging finance. So you're going to take a bridging loan and you're going to buy the house. You're going to have to use some of your own money as well, which you've saved over the 7 years, hopefully from the property itself. You're going to buy the property, cash, consisting of money that you've saved from the property and a bridging loan. Bridging loans will often give you money for the refurb as well. So you're going to buy the property, get the title deeds, and then you're going to change the carpets, change the kitchen, tart it up a little bit. The tenants will be happy. You can maybe increase the rent a little bit too. Awesome. Then you're going to refinance the house. You're going to refinance the house. Now, because the property, it's been 7 years, it should have gone up in value quite a bit. And now you've just done a little refurb on the property. So you've pushed the value as high as you can get it. And then you're going to immediately refinance on a 75% loan to value mortgage. And you're going to pull out all the money. So all that 7 years, all that money that you've saved, you're going to get back. That bridging loan, you're going to pay back. And you're going to refinance the house. And then you're left with a genuine, no money down property investment that you can continue renting out for the rest of your life, that you secured by using a lease option agreement, but you did it properly. So those are some of the things you need to look for. That's what happens at the end of a lease option agreement. If you found this video helpful, please do let me know in the comments, and also let me know by smashing the like button as well. People need to hear this stuff. People need to know the nitty-gritty of lease option agreements, the risks, what to do at the end of the term. So the more you like and smash the like button, the more you share, the more you comment, the more the YouTube algorithm are going to share this video around with everybody else that's looking at property. So please help me out by doing that. Also, if you're not a subscriber, smash the subscribe button, turn on the notification bell. I am going to be running some more advanced property investment training specifically on lease option agreements. I'm going to be running a webinar where I'm going to be going into real detail of how to source and find and secure lease option agreements. If you'd like to join me on that webinar, it's coming soon. You can find details in the description below. Thank you so much. I'll see you next time.